Do you know what's worse than divorce? Staying stuck in a marriage that literally sucks the life out of you. There's still so much stigma around divorce, and it makes me mad. It makes me really mad. Divorce allows you to rediscover yourself, to reinvent yourself, to create a whole new life for yourself outside of your marriage. Your confidence can skyrocket the first time you fix something by yourself, the first time you travel alone. I've helped clients post-divorce buy their first house on their own, and it's so amazing. You realize you don't need someone else to do all of these things with you. You finally have the ability to attract healthier relationships, do the healing, do the work. And you can be that example for your kids of what it means to not settle.
She's literally saying that staying stuck in a marriage that sucks the life out of you is worse than divorce. And of course, it's never her fault, right? It's always the marriage that was draining, the husband that was lacking, the relationship that wasn't fulfilling enough. But let's get real. Was it really the marriage? Or was it just her? Because this is what modern women do. They wake up one day and suddenly decide they're unhappy. Not because their husband did something wrong. Not because the relationship was toxic, but because she wants more. More excitement, more thrill, more feelings.
Divorce rate in Russia is around 80%. Why is it so high? Women are beautiful, so why everybody are getting divorced in Russia? First reason, no religion. So religion has no big influence in Russia, and people don't feel ashamed to be divorced because of religion. Also, society doesn't push so much on people who are getting divorced. So not your grandmother, not your neighbor will never ask you any questions if you are getting divorced. So it is fine. Another thing that women are pushed by society and by family to get children. So if you are 30 years old and you have no children, you will have lots of questions from your family. But if you are 30 years old and you got a child and then get divorced, no questions. So for women, it's more beneficial to go to the marriage, got a child, and then get divorced. And in society, that will be less questions than to the girl who was never married. It is strange, but this is true. Another thing that traditional Russian family nowadays, and maybe even 10 years ago, was
still get hit with the grief and the loneliness of it all. Then another family comes and it's a mom, a dad, and a son his age, and they're all three playing together, and the kid says something funny and they both laugh and look at each other and like talk about it, and I literally had to leave the park because I started sobbing. It feels really heavy and really overwhelming still, and sometimes I just feel really tired. I'm a single mom of a 2.5-year-old. I've been split up from my ex for about 10 months now. I still get hit hard sometimes with the grief and the loneliness of it all. Like, I took him to the park and we were playing alone for a long time, and he was saying cute things, funny things, and I was texting my mom and my sister and, you know, telling them what he said, and then another family comes and it's a mom, a dad, and a son his age, and they're all three playing together, and the kid says something funny and they both laugh and look at each other and like talk about it, and I literally had to leave the park because I started sobbing because I grieve that life so hard. You can have all the support in the world, you can have the best parents, the best family, but nothing replaces that relationship you have with a spouse, Mommy, and your kid. And sometimes it just feels so overwhelming that it still feels so heavy. And that the guilt still eats away at me, even though I know it was the right decision. Just the guilt that I can't give my son, like, that life.
There are no phones connected. Connect the phone.
And sometimes I just feel really tired. This is all to say, if you're doing this too, you're not alone. Like, it freaking sucks. I don't know when it's supposed to get easier. I don't know if it ever will. I don't know if this is just the pain I feel forever. But if it is, I feel it with you.
Also, do you side with a man or woman in the case I'm about to present here? Okay, I'm actually going to side with the man on it, but I'd like to hear what you have to say. So, this man and this woman, husband and wife, they're having a party. They've been married for a couple years, and the guy's stepkid, her kid, you know, is there at the party. Everybody's having a good time or whatever, and he's giving relationship advice to some of their friends. And she comes over and says, don't take relationship advice from him. And he says, thinks she's playing around and says, well, it got me you, didn't it? And he gives her a kiss or whatever. And she says, the only reason you got me is because I was recently divorced, scared, and I had a kid. And basically he was a safe choice. And he goes silent. Right? And I mean, I don't know. That would be so freaking devastating. Okay. But a couple days later, she realizes how silent and how affected he is. And she tries apologizing. He said, I'll be okay. And then like 2 weeks later, she's starting to get into panic because he will not talk to her. He won't do anything. She starts cooking his favorite foods, trying to do all the things that he likes, even goes so far as to have their kids go stay at her parents' house, or his stepkid and her kid go stay at the parents' house. And then she takes him somewhere that was important to them. And they go stay a couple nights there. And then when they come back, he goes to work for a couple days. He comes back. As soon as he walks in the door, he said, can you sit down on the couch for a second? Sits down and said, we're done. We're getting a divorce. And she tried everything. She begged him not to go. She said, I love you now. I'm so sorry. Blah, blah, blah. I actually side with the guy on this. And I'm not trying to be mean. I understand everybody's situation would be different. But the fact of the matter is, and a lot of people are going to say, no, you work harder on a marriage. To me, that contract's null and void because she did not love him when she got into the relationship. Okay? She saw safety. She was panicked after her recent divorce, being a stay-at-home mom with a single kid. So she latched onto the first guy she didn't even love because he had money and could provide safety. And that's what she did, and admitted that's what she did. And so when he found out, he's like, oh, you don't love me? I don't want you then. Okay? The only thing that gives me hesitation about ending the marriage and everything would be the kid. How attached to him is the kid? Because it sounded like the other father wasn't in, he's a father figure, but the other real dad wasn't in the picture. And so you kind of don't want to harm the kid, but I'm also one who does not believe in parenting marriages. I've seen 4 of them in my own life. Every single one of them have their kids horrible messes, multiple divorces when they get older and all that stuff. But that's a side subject. This subject is, do you agree with this guy for divorcing her? She said she admitted she didn't love him. She just chose him for safety. And to me, that would be about the only more devastating thing a woman could do is love me and then cheat on me, which to me means she never really loved me in the first place. But let me know what your thoughts are. I would definitely side with the guy on this, but I understand everybody's got their own opinion.
Here's the thing. This single mom didn't just stumble into a bad situation. She created it. Let's be real here. Lying to a man just to trick him into marriage because she was afraid of being alone, or because she wanted financial security, that's straight up manipulation. The moment she admitted she didn't love him from the start, but only stayed with him.
I heard it said that women need to feel seen, heard, and cherished in relationships. And when they're not, they exit stage left. I was reminded recently as to why I made my exit in a particular relationship. I was with this person, and we were in the same space, and we had to do a thing. I said, I'm going to get ready for the day, and then I'm going to go for a walk. And then when I come back, we can go do the thing. If you want to get ready while I'm gone, then we can go do the thing. And he said, okay. And I got ready. In the common space we were in, I took clothes out of a bag. I took my get ready bag out, which he's familiar with these things. And I went around the corner and I did the things. Brushed my teeth. I washed my face. I got dressed. I put my earrings in. I put my face on. You know, I looked fresh. And I came out from around the corner and I put my bag back down. I put my pajamas in a different bag. The whole thing. And I said, I'm ready now. I'm going to go for a walk. I'll be back in about an hour. I came back after an hour and he was still in bed. It's fine. There's time. And I said, do you want to get ready? And then we'll go. And he said, well, don't you want to get ready? When I tell you the wound he hit and the triggering, I have more healing to do around that. But it shut me down. I wasn't prepared for that. It probably seemed insignificant to that person. But to me, it reminded me of why I exited stage left. I thought, clearly made up, dressed, ready to go. I had stated that I was getting ready for the day. I was ready for the day. And I looked at him and I said, I am ready. I told you I was going to get ready for the day and go for a walk. I'm dressed. And I found myself in that same cycle of trying to explain everything that he couldn't see because he didn't see me and he didn't hear me. And it hit hard. It is so important that people in general are seen, heard, and cherished. And if you don't feel these things, it's okay to exit stage left. Because you will find the people that appreciate you in all of the ways.
No, you will never find someone who will appreciate you exactly the way you want to be appreciated based on your feelings. The world doesn't revolve around you. Your husband couldn't have also be going through some personal problems, and maybe that's why he was not paying attention to you in that particular moment. This is the problem with the modern woman's mentality. She thinks that she is so special to the point that her husband is obliged to keep an eye on her 24/7. Well, life started to humble this woman very quickly after she decided to leave her husband.
I felt compelled to make a video in response to what someone commented on another video about my children's father, H, wanting, like, pressuring to file for divorce because he possibly has someone else, and it's something that I wish this person hadn't commented, because I have been thinking about that, and it makes me feel even worse than what I already do, because it's something that I've definitely also thought about, and his actions have made me think that this is a possibility, and it's just not good for my self-esteem. When I knew he was coming after 3 months of not seeing him and him not seeing his kids, I even offered for him to stay here. I thought it would be a better transition for the kids to see him, and then we would talk to our daughter, our oldest daughter, 7 months, 7 years. Oh, 7 years old, almost 7 years old. And he didn't want that. He said he wanted his space, and he is a person that wants his space. When he's next to me and he's on his phone, he kind of goes like this, the pressuring, and then he already talked about, when we were talking about how we were going to be before we talked to our daughter, and how we wanted, I said, I want this to be okay, we weren't meant for each other, but that doesn't mean we have to be enemies, and it's good for them to see that we can even be friends, right? And have like moments that it's the four of us. So yeah, the different behaviors have gotten me like thinking, does he already have someone else? And it does make me feel like shit even more. It really does, because I feel like I'm that easily replaceable. For 12 years that I've been with him, I feel like I've begged for his love, and it's like the harder, the more the people play hard to get, the more you want that person. I feel like that's what's happening, even though I know that he is not the person for me. It's an ego thing. I know that. I know it's an ego thing. But I'm not gonna lie, it makes me feel like shit. It really does. It makes me feel horrible about myself.
Hey friends, Roberta here. I had a thought as I'm thinking, processing, reading about divorce. I heard a term today called suicidal empathy, and I don't think I've ever related to a term more than that. And basically the concept is that you sacrifice all of yourself for the person that you are in a relationship with, whether it be a child or a mother or a father or a spouse. And basically you give all of yourself. You kill yourself. You die to yourself to make sure that that person or persons are thriving. And I realized today that that's what I've always done in all my relationships with my children, my spouse, my mother, sometimes even my sister. So yeah, that one's gonna take some unpacking. What are your thoughts? So, thinking about motherhood and my own relationship with my mother, one of my children has experienced the loss of a friend to suicide in the past 24 hours. And this child has been away at college. And it was one of their very best friends. And all this child wanted to do was come home to mama. And what did this mama do? Got this baby on a plane and brought this baby home. Because that's what mothers do. It's been a hard day watching my child fall in and out of numbness and tears and pain, but it's one of those things that I never had growing up. There was never a point in my life, and I'm 40, almost 43, there's never been a point in my life when I could go home to mama, when I could go to mom to be loved, for a hug, for security. Never. Never had that. Never had that desire. Certainly, desire has been there, but the availability has never been there. That trust, that security. There's been certainly moments in my life when I wanted my mom. I wanted someone to be my mom, to hold me, to make me feel secure. But I've never had it. Never had it. It's just one of those things that some of us go through life experiencing.